Do, do, do. Oh, yay, it's so good to see everyone. Hi. Hi, friends.
Hi.
Hey, Hillary.
Hi. I'm glad it worked so seamlessly this time.
I know, it was great. Who are you? Who am I? Someone just said, who are you? I'm Bethany.
And
I
I'm
am Bethany.
Hillary.
Yep. Hello, Better Than Blast. Oh, Bridget, love your, oh, thank you. The L
Oh,
here.
yay. It's exciting to us too.
Yeah,
Now, can
exactly.
everybody drop in where they're coming from right now?
We'd love to know.
Yes. Excited you're
Hey,
here too.
Mighty Mo. I love that name.
Yeah.
Hey, lots to
Hello.
love.
Oh, thank you, Bridget. That means a lot. Ohio. Oh, hi. We recognize your name.
Yes,
It's good to see you, friend.
Vincent. Yes, hey, my
Yes.
Ohio homie. Fort Worth. My brother's in Fort Worth. Well, Keller, which I think is like Fort Worth. I don't know. It's so big. Arlington, North Carolina. Okay, Westchester, New York. Is there snow?
Nashville,
Is there snow there yet?
France.
France. We.
Yay.
That's all I can say. Okay, from the D.
A
The
lot of
D.
Texas in here.
Well, Texas is huge. First timer. Hey,
Yes. Mm.
UK, love you. Thank you for being awake still. Okay. I know. Conti father, you finally made it. Boo, but we love you though. Like, you are always a ride or die, whether you're here or not.
You really are.
Bradenton, Florida. Oh, this is so cool. Cali. Is that Northern California? That one trucker? Bakersfield?
Is that
Missouri?
Central?
I have no idea. Our geography. I probably shouldn't even be popping off about where it might
Girl,
be.
I know. I'm like, why are you asking? What, you
I
like you're
don't
gonna
know.
know.
Like I'm going to pull up a little map.
Yep.
Louisiana. Okay. First time. Love this.
Well, we are
Southern.
still
Okay.
very much novices ourselves too,
Southern
so.
California. Okay. Cuz it is on our list, like as you if you've been following us and you read our post, you know that we are trying to travel to see you all in person because like we love to do, online stuff, like the content we post, but we love to meet people in person. Like that's really our jam.
Hmm.
So we're trying to do more like this so we can kind of like pretend like we are Georgia. Okay. In person, but we really, really want to come see you like face to face. So
Yes.
Southern California feels like it keeps coming up. Okay.
Yes. All right.
Ooh, Trinidad and
Oh,
Tobago.
hello. What time is it there?
Girl, I think it's
Alberta.
oh Canada.
Oh yeah. Yay, divorce party. Whoever's
Oh,
having a divorce
good.
party. Yes.
Okay, that one trucker, make sure we know. Houston, yes. Texas is
Northern
showing
California.
out. Okay. Is that's where the redwoods, is it the redwoods?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I believe so.
I
Yeah.
want to see them.
I've been there, but it's been too long.
Been years. 7:05. Okay, so same time in Trinidad. Okay, that's what I was
Okay.
thinking.
Sick.
Ooh, Queensland,
Queensland.
Australia. Oh my gosh. Amazing. I think it's
Okay.
like the next day there, I think.
Sydney, Australia.
Sydney.
Hello.
Hold it down, Calgary. All right now. We're like multiple continents right now. Redwood and Muir. Okay. Yep. I'm going there. 9:06 a.m. Okay, that's
Okay.
Sydney.
Friday. Okay, so you're ahead of us.
Okay. Friday. Whew.
All
Okay, well,
right.
good morning.
Yes.
We're so excited. Like, okay, y'all can just start dropping questions for us. Like, our whole purpose today is really just whatever you want us to know. British,
Hmm.
but live in Turkey. Fascinating. So drop us questions. If you were here last week, that's what we did. We pretty much answered questions. And you can ask us personal questions, like about us personally, because one of the reasons we're doing this is so you get to know the face behind the account a little bit more. I mean, if you DM us, you get a good sense of who we are. But if you haven't DM'd us much, then you're probably like, who are these people? So
Hmm.
yeah. It
We
is
feel the same
amazing.
way.
I know.
It's one of
It's the
the,
best.
yes,
So yeah, if you have
amazing.
any questions, you want to tell us how your week's been, like what's been going on for you. Um, ooh,
How to co-parent with a person who doesn't communicate. That's been the biggest challenge. Oof, that's a hard one. When you say they don't communicate, do they just like they're completely unresponsive or like can you elaborate a little bit?
ooh, a
And
little bit
yes,
of background.
we'll dip a background too.
Hey, Carrie. Sorry, I'm talking. Go ahead. You're answering the question.
Girl, yeah. I mean, so I have a friend who her and her ex do not they do not communicate at all except through an app. And maybe I don't know if you're using a co-parenting app, but that might be a viable solution for you. It's less personal than texting or even emailing because it's everything lives in the app. And they pretty much only communicate um like about things with their children. So I don't know how old your kids are. For me, that would be difficult because my youngest is 3. So like I have, I feel like that's influenced a lot of the ways that I've approached co-parenting because I want to have like I want to be in a place where I can have a healthy back and forth between my ex and his new wife. So that has kind of influenced how I've approached a lot of things. But I think that, yeah, like a third party or an app might be a good alternative. Um,
And everyone else, if
oh, it's
you have suggestions, I was just going to say everyone else can like drop in if they have suggestions too to answer the question.
yes, yes. And okay, so now it looks like if the question is they haven't talked to the kids, and that's just sad. Like that's, and we talk about this a lot in a lot of different ways when we feel like, our kids co-parent is letting them down. And the unfortunate part is that we can't really protect them from that. Like their co-parent is going to show up and is going to kind of show them who they are. And unfortunately, as much as we want to shield our kids from like hurtful things and just love them up as much as we can, we can't. And that's I think the really stark reality of divorce. That kind of reality kind of starts to really hit you when you realize that you have no control over what the other parent does. um, and I think that's just like a learning curve, honestly, and I think it's going to be a learning curve for your kids too. And you can't make them communicate if that's not what they're going to do. And you just have to be there for your kids in the best way that you can be and be as honest as you can be with age appropriately honest. And yeah, and what you said, you can't make a parent be a parent. You just have to do your part and let them see the light. And I think that's a really beautiful way to put it, and just be there for them through the journey.
And
And it's their loss,
yeah,
not the kids' loss, the co-parents' loss.
and also like you have it's like relearning how to interact with this person, right? Like whenever like because we had a couple other follow-up questions about the co-parenting and like when a co-parent one person's cordial, the other person's not, or the other person doesn't want to, do what they're supposed to do. When you were married or with that person, right, it was like a negotiation. Like you felt like you could convince them to do the right thing. Like, and I'm taught, I should say I statements, but that's how I felt a lot. And so, like, in the 2 years since I've been divorced, I've really had to like learn to manage my expectations, like, because I don't really have that kind of access, just like they don't really have that access to me,
Hmm.
to get me to change my thinking about something the same way. Like we don't negotiate things, we see things so drastically different. So part of it is just, I think, muscle memory. Like you sort of have to like let it fall away that you're used to, finding a middle ground, because that's kind of what, any relationship is about. But like, you know a close intimate relationship, but when it's a divorce, I think there's a lot of things that are just outside of what we've known with that person, and so it's figuring out new ways, but also understanding that they're going to be resistant, and there's really nothing that sometimes that you can do about it,
Hmm.
unless it involves court. And of course it's horrible. Someone else mentioned about like the ex weaponizing court and court proceedings. And I think we all can agree that the system is just so broken, in the US, but in other places too. But you can only control what's within your control. And as Hillary said so well, protect your kiddos,
Yeah,
to the extent that it's possible, and also let them know that let them have their direct experience with their other
yeah,
parent, even if it's
yeah,
absent.
yeah,
It's better for them to learn sooner as opposed to later. So,
yeah. Somebody's asking about between pushing for primary custody or trying to co-parent with someone that hides a CPS case that their affair partner turned boyfriend has. Yikes. Um, I mean, from my experience, like, and again, I'm not a coach, I'm not an attorney, I'm just a human that went through divorce here in the US. But I have heard, yeah, it's not primary getting primary custody is I believe very challenging. The courts, I believe, push you know, joint custody, and it's unfortunate because not all scenarios are different. I mean, not all scenarios are the same, but I think that, yeah, I think that sometimes you just have to, kind of what we were saying from the question before, you can do your best to protect children and your kids from um, as much as you can, but when their other co-parent has them, it's hard to let go of control. And I think that like Bethany was saying earlier, it's just a major learning curve in the process. And I know that that's not a great answer, and that's not an answer that anybody wants to hear. Because I know that I had to grapple with this about certain things when I was early on in the divorce stages, just safety concerns I had about my kids, and I had some concerns over when they met my ex's now wife, um, and sadly, you know, you can present them with all the research that you want, and you can follow up with the courts, and you can document. And it's not to say that there's no point to all of that, because I think that there is, but I think that there is also a reckoning that you have to come to, that you just can't control it, and
yeah.
you can't, you can do your best to be there, but it's just sad, and I wish that it was different.
I have a slightly different opinion on this one. Um, I think anytime you feel like your child is in danger, like physical danger, and it sounds like you have like documented proof that there's a CPS case, right? And I watch a lot of true crime, so there's that. I have that in the back of my mind. But if there's documented evidence that this person has been violent or has been held accountable for violence in the past, then for me, you know, there would pretty much be for no limit to what I'd be willing to do in order to make sure that my kid was protected, from that.
Hmm.
So, and again, because we're not attorneys or anything like that, don't know exactly what the course is for that. But I think it's also really important to follow your gut, right? Because sometimes, I mean, and this is where divorce is hard, because there's this ambiguity, right? There are things that are not within your control, and so you have to let them go. And then there are things where your gut is going to just keep nagging at you that something's not right, that you don't know what the outcome is, you might not even know what exactly it is. But I really believe that like we're given a sixth sense or intuition about people that we love, and not just our kids, need to protect. So I personally would tell it, or, like, I would not keep that secret. And again, all the words are moving quickly, so I'm sorry if I've gotten it wrong, but that is what I would say.
Yeah.
um yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if there's documentation of it, then I think that you're well within your right to intervene in however in whatever way. But I guess where I was going with is sometimes it's hard, like you said, to know that, to live in that ambiguity of like, what control do I have, and then what control do I have to let go of, and um that's a really hard balance, and it's a really But if there is, yeah, but if there is documentation and if there is actual, concerns for their safety, then absolutely.
And also like use free resources. I mean, again, also finances for some people, are not an issue, but this is expensive, and especially when you need to pull in an expert, and we really value the people that have expertise in navigating these kinds of things. But I know, at least in Maryland and probably most places in the US, there's typically a health center, or I'm sorry, not health, help center, or like near your courthouse or within the courthouse, and there are volunteers, like there are attorneys and really seasoned professionals there that can give you some guidance as to like what the recourse is, or ask people to help you roll the tape forward, right? Like if you make this claim, then what are the possible things that could happen, right? Because I think Mariah mentioned, you know courts are going to want to protect your kids no matter what. So, right, that's like inviting them in, and maybe, an unintended consequence, could exist, so just so you're aware of the whole landscape, I would use whatever, like free consultation, free resources, or if you have an attorney, to consider that, and ask the attorney what the data shows for situations like this in your area, because that also can be a good indication. So, all right.
I think somebody asked us about our backstory, I believe, because they were
Oh yeah.
relatively new to the page or to our community.
Mhm.
So, like I mentioned before, we are just two people who went through divorce. At the same time, we were friends. Well, we were colleagues first. We've known each other for over a decade. And, so we worked together for a number of years. Bethany was actually my supervisor at one point in time. And we ended up, our professional lives took a different turn, but we ended up remaining friends. And we, you know, ended up going through divorce at the same time together, and very different circumstances, completely unexpected. But basically, our friendship served as a lifeline to each other. And once we kind of got through the really heavy healing parts of our divorce, we decided that we wanted to try to, I guess, extend the experience that we had with our friendship out into the community, and that, like, the connection that we shared was so, like, it was so pivotal to both of our healings, I think. And so we started off just trying to trying to start a local support group in Maryland, in the Harford County area, which is where we both live. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Like, we, had an Instagram account, and like we just started connecting with people. And now here we are, like, what was it? What is it, 18 months later, Bethany? I think 17
Yeah.
months, something like
And
that.
and our divorce stories are very different. Like
Hmm.
maybe you want to know that too. Like, I was married 22 years. I have two kids. They're girls. They're now 21 and 17. No, Lord Jesus, 21 and 14,
Yeah.
and they were 10 and 17 whenever I filed for divorce after 22 years of being married. Overall, I have a amicable relationship with my ex, who happened to be a practicing divorce attorney. That's a fun fact about me. But yeah, so that's kind of like my backstory on the divorce part.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Giselle. That's so
Oh,
kind. Um, yeah, and like, my divorce story is very different. So I was married 6 years, and I was not the initiator of my divorce. Although we had had conversations, like, in the month leading up to when my ex told me that he wanted to proceed as co-parents. But at the time, my son was 4 and my daughter was not born yet. I was 6 or 7 months pregnant with her when all of this was going down, which added another special layer of funness to my divorce. Air quotes there. It sucked a lot, but yeah, and there was some infidelity involved, and I ended up moving back in with my parents, who I'm still with, which, that's a whole other piece to this divorce journey, because I hadn't lived with my parents in over a decade. And I'm fortunate that they're as supportive and as wonderful as they are. But it's been an adjustment. So yeah, like, I'm raising two kids at very young ages as a single parent. And, I'm thankfully I have this community and I have some friends that I've made through this community that have similar circumstances, because really that is what sometimes gets me through the day, is just having somebody or having multiple people to lean on and to, not have to explain your situation to, right? Like, it's just comforting when somebody just understands divorce on a personal level the way that you do. And that's why we're so passionate about trying to make connections in person and also to facilitate connections between everyone, wherever you are. So, Bethany and I always say, we are building this plane as we're flying it. And it's been an incredible journey. But the best part about it has been being able to connect with all of you, which has been also really crucial to my own healing. Just the validation from so many of you, and the people that I've met through this has just been truly amazing. And we just pinch ourselves all the time, like thinking, how did we get here? But
Right.
because divorce wasn't part of I don't think it's part of anybody's marriage bingo card, right? Like some trolls like to come in and say, or insinuate when in their comments. But it doesn't mean that you still can't have an amazing life after it, even though your previous life blew up in all the ways.
Right.
And I think that there's a fine balance between honoring that and also embracing it. And I hope that this community fills that kind of gray area where you can think of both. You can have both experiences, and there's a place for both of them. So
Yeah. And we also, it's really important for us to be vulnerable with you all too, because like we're still like divorce is going to be part of my identity. Like it's part of my story and who I am. And I think that's the one, like the big mission that we have to disrupt the shame and stigma around divorce is really important to us because it's always felt like a dirty little secret or something that, people go through and then they never ever mention it again, or they try to bury it as deeply as possible. And it doesn't have to be. And in fact, it's one of the things that, we all,
oh
I'm
my
sorry to hear that,
gosh,
Finley. But
that
it's
breaks
one
my
of the
heart.
things that changes us in ways that, I think should be honored and acknowledged. And so, anyhow, that's what we're doing too, is finding a way forward, but not having to close that this happened to us, because of what we've gained from it is so much greater, truly.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
there were a couple questions that I saw pop in. So one, All Things New asked about, she's got anger. It's like letting go of anger, that her co-parent is not going to be around for their son going off to boot camp. So
Mm,
that was one question, but kind of related, although it's different circumstances. James mentioned how, he's trying to get over the anger and the feelings of being cheated on by his ex. Um, and so, yes, it is hard finding a person for life. I truly believe that, yeah, I don't know. My person may not have been born yet. No, just kidding.
yeah.
Just kidding, because that would be a long time for, I'd be like 70 by the time they became of age anyway.
Right.
But like the anger.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
okay, so go
I
ahead.
think I mean, for me, like, I experienced this firsthand. And I by nature am not a generally like an angry person. Like I think anger is an emotion that I've been uncomfortable with for whatever reasons, and that's like part of my own personal journey. But I think that I had a lot of just like guilt and sadness. Maybe guilt is kind of like what was in anger's place. Um, I kind of beat myself up a lot in a lot of ways, like not being a good enough partner, or where I went wrong, and in addition to a series of other emotions. But where I'm getting at is that anger is an emotion, and it's one that you need to honor, like in a healthy way, right? Like obviously not like, we're not saying to act on that anger, but there is a spot for anger in your journey, and it deserves your attention, and it deserves to be felt. And I think that the more comfortable we get with addressing those emotions and we get with, facing them and kind of like peeling back the layers of like why they're there and things like that is how we move through them. Because I know that we see a lot of times like the only way out is through, and the only way that you can really, you know you can't like push things aside because they are eventually going to keep coming out. But I think that you just have to let it come, and you have to just ride it out, and you have to maybe find a safe community or a safe person that you can kind of express some of these things to. I don't know if you're a journaler, but journaling was a really big part of my journey as well. Therapy, um, taking walks. I was going to say exercise, but that feels like a bit of a stretch because it was more of just me taking walks sometimes.
Right.
But I think you just need to figure out what works for you and what ways that you can, in a healthy way, experience and like feel that anger. And again, I am not a therapist. I am not a coach. Like I'm just a person that's like truly sharing like my own opinion and my own, what worked for me, my own testimonial, I guess.
Right. And I just want to add, like, especially when the anger like has to do with like at least the question that we got from All Things New about being angry for your child, that your ex is not going to be there for your child. Like moments when and I'm just answering this as someone that has older children, that, you know, find out, is your child angry? I would say this, and maybe you already know that, but ask your child, how do they feel about the fact that their other parent is not going to be there for this really, milestone moment of joining the military, which thank you for your service first. But I think, a lot of times we can tap into, or we can help understand our own anger by understanding what they're feeling too. Because they may say, surprisingly, I don't really care. And that may or may not be true. Your child probably, but they may say, yeah, I'm angry, but I'm choosing to focus on this. And it's amazing how sometimes our children are teaching us the things that we need to know, or how we can proceed in a way that is healthier. I think, I mean, I was raised at a time where it's very authoritative, kind of like what your parents said, goes. I'm sorry, what my parents said went. Okay, a little tongue tied. But I have tried to embrace a different kind of parental approach. Again, there's still authority because, I'm paying all the bills and all that stuff. But like, I love learning from them. And sometimes I see a lot of opportunity for myself to grow in ways just based upon how they're handling something. And so I would encourage, All Things New to really ask, or anyone with especially older kids that can verbalize it, how are they feeling about something? Because you may be angry and they are like, I'm good,
Yeah.
you're enough, and what they're really telling you is that you, the present parent, you are enough for them. And that's consistent with what the research says, so just remember that. Yeah. That's it.
Well, I think we have time for one more question because it's already 7:30. Can you believe
I
that?
know. I know.
Time flies.
Ta-da.
Well, while we're waiting for a question to come through, Bethany and I want to announce that we're really excited to be relaunching our virtual support groups. They took a brief hiatus over the summer when we were trying to start this podcast that we have now pivoted, and now we're going with these lives, which is another story. But anyways, we used to hold virtual support um, meetups
Groups.
once a month, groups. And it was honestly kind of just like this, except that it was in a private setting, like we would send a private link. Um, and it's just a way for and that we kind of let the conversation unfold organically. And it was just a way for people to connect, and we are really excited to relaunch it. And so it'll be coming out in November is when we're planning to do it, and we're working on a brand new community platform for it, which we're excited to launch. So we're kind of like doing some things on the back end in addition to scheduling the meetings out. So Just keep checking our page for more information, but we are really excited to be offering this again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay! We would love if you would sign up.
Yes, we would love it. And if you were going to be like emailing something about it, so if you're not subscribed, definitely subscribe to our emails. And we don't do spam, and like we're not going to
Mm-mm.
overwhelm you, but we just want to keep you informed. And but before we go, can I mention that tomorrow is Hillary's, would have been Hillary's 10th wedding anniversary. And
Yeah.
so we're gonna try to have coffee, and like, well, we are gonna have coffee, and we're gonna like create a new day. But how are you feeling about that, friend?
It's funny, like I keep forgetting that it's tomorrow. Like, I mean, I know that it's tomorrow because like I have some ideas for things I'm going to share on Instagram, but like I don't know, like I just kind of feel indifferent about it. I don't know if it's going to hit me at a moment. Um, or maybe I don't know. I mean, it's been 3 years now, 3.5 years since everything has gone down. Um, but yeah, right now I don't really feel much of anything. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like I'm like picking at a scar kind of thing. Like I'm like I see this scar of this like thing that's supposed to like trigger me. And I'm like kind of looking at it like why aren't you like triggering me? Why aren't you like hurting me? And I don't know. So we'll see. I'll report back tomorrow. But like for right
Okay.
now, I'm all right. But 10 years does feel like a milestone. So
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
It does. If nothing else, we'll take a shot of like tequila or espresso,
Yeah,
whatever.
absolutely. Down
So
for
I
that.
think we got our last question, which is a good one, from MTB 813. Raised my son by myself since eighth grade. Mom is uninvolved. Now he is a junior in college, and she jumped in like nothing happened. I'm mad that he's not mad. Best advice. Whew.
Yeah, that's a heavy one. Um,
I guess I would say, how do you know that he's, I mean, when you say he's not mad, has he said he's not mad? Or or is he just accepting that she's there and you're interpreting that as he's not mad? Because my initial thought is that it may be like a honeymoon period for him, like from not having her around. And now she's back, and so it's like, oh, I'm worthy of this person's attention again, or they're prioritizing me, so it feels good. It's almost like a love bombing kind of thing, right? Like when someone is showering attention and all that kind of stuff on you, it feels really, really, really good, but it may not be as good for you as it feels for whatever reason. The other person may have ulterior motives, but it's hard to see that because you're just enjoying the fact that you're the center of someone's attention or their focus at that time. So I wonder if your son potentially is feeling like he's in a honeymoon period, or again, like, he's just glad that she's acknowledging him, right? It's
yeah,
been a missing piece, and it may be curiosity as opposed to, I'm not mad, but like curious, who is this person, right? Because she's part of him.
yeah,
And so he may be wondering, like, maybe I will learn about her. And okay, he's grateful that she started associated, so like no accounting for absence. And she's probably not, she's not capable, you know,
yeah,
like there, honestly, she's probably not capable of it. I think one of the things you can remind your son, and of course, you got to work through your own feelings on that, right? Because that's separate, and you don't want ever to give your child a reason to say, well, you made me feel this way, or you told me this about this, right? But you know, I think for kids that age, and I have one, I always say, what does your direct experience with that person teach you? And that's for their friends, that's for someone in a romantic relationship, that's even with a supervisor. What does your direct experience with that person tell you? Use that as the baseline, as the data, to decide how you're going to move forward in a relationship with that person, or if you're going to move forward with a relationship, or what the boundaries are going to be. But use that real life experience. Don't just throw it away because it's in the past. Like that's good stuff, right? Because it's going to be an indicator of how that person's probably going to keep behaving. So that, I think, is just general good advice that you can give your kids that are older and as they're choosing who they want to spend time with and be around. But definitely for the mom, because I think that they're probably, like you said, they're just like, oh, thank goodness I'm worthy, of
Right.
this person's attention. And we know that that's BS. They've always been worthy. They've always been worthy, and again, maybe affirming that. I think it's the things that you can affirm, especially if you think it's coming from a place of them feeling deficient in some way, because they're not, to tell them that you're not deficient. You've never been deficient.
Mm-mm.
You've always been worthy. So that's tough. And I'm proud of you for staying true to what you wanted to do and who you wanted to be for your son. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All
okay.
right. Well,
Well,
I think
yeah.
that's,
Yep.
yeah.
We say the
I know we're
same
like,
things at the same time. Like, honestly, it's kind of fun. But we are going to wrap up, and but we will be back next week because we're doing this every week, and it's fun, and it's really really
yeah.
meaningful that you all take time to be here and engage with us. And Hillary, I'll let you close it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and I've said this before, but this is not like in my wheelhouse of like being completely comfortable doing this. So I'm really pushing myself to be here and to like learn how to do this. But it's been fun. Like it's fun to push yourself, and it's been, I'm glad I'm doing it, but it's not something that comes naturally to me. I feel like it comes naturally to you, Bethany, because you're Norm from Cheers always. But like I'm more of a, I don't know. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So
Well, and I love you just the way you are. And this is why we are the team that we are. Like, we're
yep.
not the same person. We are we are similar in lots of ways, but this is a space where we can come as we are. And
Hmm.
I am proud of you for pushing yourself
Thank
and for
you.
being vulnerable with everyone, sharing that like doesn't come naturally, but you're
No.
great.
Yeah.
So
Thank
that's why
you.
you're my bestie. All right.
Thank
Well, all
you.
right, everyone. We hope you have a good weekend. And
Yes.
also stay tuned for a fun sale this weekend because we
Yes.
think we might hit 200,000 followers. And we're gonna put some things on
Oh,
sale.
thank
So
you. Yeah. Yeah, we have a whole new collection of merch that has come again by request. All of the merch that we have in our store has come like has been inspired by you all. Like it's been things that we see in the comments. We're like, we need that on a t-shirt. And I'll text Bethany like, Bethany, we need this on a t-shirt. And she's like, all right, I'm on it. And so like everything has been completely inspired by this community. And we're excited to be offering another new collection, which will come with a sale this weekend. So
all right,
stay tuned.
friends. Oh, so just okay. So we love you and keep remembering that hope always wins.
Yes.
Oh, you
And
love
you're
the
not
memes.
alone.
Yeah,
Oh,
and you're
yeah.
not alone. Yeah, and we'll keep trying to make you laugh. We'll tell you how much time we spend. That'll be a future chat or topic,
Yes.
right? We'll talk. Hi there. Hi the
Yeah.
real Bria MC. Anyway, we love the memes. Thank you for showing us love on those.
Yes.
All
All right. We'll
right.
see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.